Welcome to the Twist Podcast, everybody. This is your co-host Mark here in rural New Jersey. It's a very sunny day, Rick. I don't think that's a comment on the political situation, but it's nice to have a cool sunny day. We know winter's coming with everything that's going to bring, pandemic, all kinds of stuff. But this is our post-election, our special post-election Twist Podcast. Wow, what's going on? What do you think?
Good morning,
Talk to me.
Cuddles. I want to call you Cuddles this morning. I don't know why.
Do I look cuddly?
You look cuddly and it's cuddly weather, and there's lots to cuddle and be happy about with those you love. Yeah, it's a special edition. I'm in northern Wisconsin. Funny thing, Mark, is I'm in the basement. You know, they put baby in the corner. It's been interesting for me because I came up to spend time with my family. And when we heard the great news and places all over the world were celebrating, whether it was Paris or the streets of Madison, New York City, you know, my friends writing me and texting me and showing me sounds around the city of bells ringing and fireworks and all that stuff, I was resigned to be quiet because I grew up in a Republican household and a very Trump supporting community. So being here this weekend when they broke the news, I was with my family, and it wasn't until late at night where I could crawl down to the basement and watch the speeches
Yeah.
of acceptance and celebrate by myself. But nonetheless, we won, and that's all I care about.
Well, since we're talking about where were you, because we'll remember this like historic moments. I was at work
Oh
at,
my,
at the Giant in Pennsylvania, and at
nice,
first I
nice.
thought, can I keep working in Pennsylvania depending on how this turns out? Um, but there's a lot of interesting people where I work. It's very queer friendly, all kinds of stuff. So all of a sudden, everybody's like going around the store, going, "They called it! They called it! They called it!" Woo, 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 And some people were a little bit down. And I also, on that note, though, I have not gloated whatsoever on Facebook. Once this was called, I have not said anything other than to be really happy for our late friend Stephanie Mott and all the transgender people that I have known because they were so under attack the last 4 years. And I want to talk about all that stuff because I think a lot of Trump supporters, Trump voters, Republicans included, they don't understand our issues, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but for 4 years I was reading all these articles in the New York Times about how blue America needs to understand, the Trump voter, and like never anything about understanding us, like never any attempt to understand why the lives of transgender people matter to me, you know.
That's
So,
interesting.
anyways, we'll go there. So we'll go
No,
there
for
later in
sure.
the
That
show.
is our today's topic. And I did see your post and, little things, and we'll get to them later to comment on what you said. First president elect ever to use the word transgender and the meaning behind that. First female, first woman of color, first, so many firsts in this, and such joy. That is our today's topic. I just want to open the show with this quote. I am honored and humbled by the trust the American people have placed in me and in Vice President-elect Harris. These are the words of our next president, Joe Biden, and just saying them, Mark, honestly, I just swell up still in tears. I'm just so happy for this day. There is no gloating. And one more comment to what you said. I was talking to my friend in Haralambos, an ex-partner of mine who, for various political reasons under Bush's administration, was asked to leave our country and never to return. So that ended our relationship. At that time, of course, there was no such thing as marriage or marriage protection for same-sex couples in the United States. So that's how it touched my life. And we have a president now coming in. This is the first president-elect that is coming into the presidency pro same-sex marriage. So there are many firsts there. But anyway, real quick, I was realizing, Mark, that I think when you look at the red, like people were like, oh my God, look at it. It's more red on the map than blue on the map. And we know why, because the red
It's
are bigger
land. It's
masses of land,
land.
less
There's
people.
50 people living in half that red, you know.
Right. And then in the blue are the metropolis areas with people. And this is what I want to say, people with experience, with culture, with worldviews that have been fortunate or blessed or by choice gone out to learn about the world and to be friends with transgender people or transgender friends and all these things. And the others that are living in isolated areas like where I'm at, population 1,300 people that don't have that exposure, whether it's by choice or just by life. So my goal, Mark, what can I do to make a difference is to really help those folks to understand, if they're not asking me why I feel this way, I'm going to help them to understand why. And I think maybe that will help this great divide that this country is still in, because by sheer numbers, the country is divided. Anyway, Mark,
Well, I
it's a
think I just posted on Facebook right before we started this about how I'm not sure that all of this division is going to be bridged again, or how long it's going to take. And but I do think it will help to some extent that we no longer have the head of state, the president of our country, who you and I know and experience as having sown so much division and taking so much pleasure in doing it. And his supporters don't see that. I'm curious. I've never sat down with a real Trump supporter and said, how do you see when you look out onto the world? What do you see? What do you feel?
interesting.
How do you see Donald Trump in the way he speaks and the things he does, and not see what I see? I'm never going to understand it, because to me, when you make fun of somebody, you're making fun of somebody, and he revels in that. And the criticism, the harshest criticism I've seen from people, a lot of them, is that he just he speaks illy. They don't like the way he speaks. They don't like the way he tweets. They never say they don't like who he is. They don't like what sort of person he is. And
Good point.
I don't understand it. But I hope that with him gone, and this is not going to be an easy process, as we are discovering, for him to leave, but he will leave. I'm hoping that at least that flame will be out from under all of this division.
I agree. One last thing, and we keep it's deep. There's a lot to unpack here. And one of the things, Mark, that I think is, let's remember too, and I'm the one that just suggested the divided country by votes, when you're down to a state of 30,000 vote in differential. And that's popular vote. We're not talking, the elected electoral college, which is representational vote, but in the real people vote, Mark. So, and he's gotten, Biden, and he claimed it, more votes in the history of America, which is awesome for him and his ticket. I will say it's not just Biden. There are a lot of people that are supportive of Kamala.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was actually more excited that Kamala was going to be in the White House.
She was my candidate of choice from the beginning. And you're right. We have to look at it. He is the oldest president. Reagan was 77 when he left office. This gentleman's entering office at 78. It's no small messaging that, he chose to pick a woman. She will, no doubt, be our first female president. I am 100% convinced, whether that's by his choice to, step down within these 4 years, or her reelection. But I do want to say, we have to remember this, though, too, Mark, that of that 50% vote that went to Trump, some of them are diehard Trump supporters, but some of them, and I know this to be true, are people that are diehard Republican. Okay, so there's a whole message in there. Yeah, right. So discount some of the vote of the people. Like, I guarantee if there was a better Republican candidate, if you will, or even one other Republican candidate, my family would have went that route, because they do not like Trump. Now, my brother doesn't like his rhetoric, like you say. My mother doesn't like the core of who he is, but still voted for him. So I think when you pare a lot of that back, you're maybe down to just a smaller divide than we think.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who were also, I'm sure, voted for the Republican ticket. Let's call it that, because of shit like defund the police, and they don't understand, or thinking, the Cubans in Miami thinking that Joe Biden was gonna turn them into Venezuela, which is insane. But people believe insane shit, and the people on the left, by the way, believe insane shit too. I've seen a lot of crazy, you're out of your mind stuff on the far left, as I have on not as much, but I've seen some crazy shit on the far left. But you have people who were really concerned that we were gonna. And first of all, you can't do that. One president cannot turn this country into a socialist country. And then the defund the police thing, they don't know what it means. And it's a horrible slogan. And whoever started it should have thought about that. I mean, it's about reallocating funds. It has nothing to do with making sure you don't have a police force in your community. But the whole defund the police slogan was really stupid and really damaging. And so you're right. Not everybody voted for Trump because they're a Trump cult member. A lot of them aren't.
Right. And you are right. We all owe a part in the rhetoric of it. And when you look at the words of both of these nominees, or these elects, they said we're the president of all people. Biden said it starting on Tuesday. He said every vote should count. And he addressed, we'll get into it later, but he did address those that voted for Trump in his speech. And he did address the fact that he's lost. He feels for Trump. He knows what that feels like. But they are the president and vice president-elect of the people, Mark, of all people. And I do believe those that are misinformed, like you suggest, or those that are fearful, those fears will go away when they see these aren't these, you know, I assure you, and I'll just end my comment on here, that those of you that back Trump and saw how far he took it to the other extreme of dictatorship
Right.
and
Yeah.
way off mark, I guarantee to you, friends, that we're of that sort. You're going to see that over these next 4 years, we're not going equally that far left. I assure you of
Yeah.
that. So I think we're in a better place today, Mark, and I'm happy to be on here with you and our listeners to discuss this.
Yes. And
Moving.
I'm also looking forward to not ever really talking about him again. I have not said anything other than the thing for Stephanie because I really felt like crying. I was so
Joyous,
happy
yeah.
about that.
Kind of
I
hard when you're frying chicken, though, isn't it?
It's what? No, no,
Hard
no,
when you're
no, no, no.
frying
I mean,
chicken.
this was later when because he gave the speech at night. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did
But
cry when I heard.
we got so much to unpack. 28%. Charles Blow in the New York Times was talking about how many people demographically voted for Donald Trump, and 28% of LGBT people voted for Trump. Now, Charles thinks a lot of that was the white gay men, which is probably true.
Oh, it is,
But
no doubt.
but it's so I said it's so easy to throw transgender people under the bus. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean the people in the LGBT community who have really been most attacked for 4 years are the trans community. You know, no health care, no military service. I mean, they have been under assault. They've misgendered. You have these evangelicals and these right wing people who won't even call a transgender woman a trans woman. They call
Mhm.
them he, and it's so cruel that I was really really deeply moved when Biden did that.
I agree. You know, for those of us who have followed us through our various incarnations of our podcasting here, guys, we go way back when this was aligned to a beautiful website that Mark created called LGBTQ uh, plus, which was SR, which was really for the 50 plus community. And Mark, we talked then many conversations. You and I made a vow as white gay men to understand the transgender community. And we really made that vow about almost 8 years ago, if you remember. And we had a lot of transgender, yeah, guests on. And that being said, you know, back then we've even questioned, this is one of the shows I think, Mark, we talked about was, does the LGBTQ community stay together, or is there an L community, a G community as we've advanced and we have separate issues? And that being said, you are so right there. This is the year, you know, even in my work with HIV and AIDS, sitting on the state council here in Wisconsin, it is about Black female transgender folks and really looking at that. And not just about that, we're an entire community, but I think that speaks to the vote you're talking about. There's no doubt that 28%, I would almost guarantee they were all white men, almost.
Yeah, most of them.
It's crazy. So moving on to the show, some good news. One of the things
Oh, I thought we're just now starting the show. We're 12
in,
minutes into it. No, go ahead.
there's a lot to say, and of course, a lot of this was going to be in our today's topic. So we'll save some time there, Mark. I know you are a producer and watch the clock that way too, and I appreciate that. But you know, I was like you. I turned on Saturday Night Live. You know, like I said, I had to watch the speeches later, so by then it was Saturday Night Live time on YouTube, and I didn't even like seeing Alec come on and play the president because I'm over him in my head. I don't want to hear him. I'm glad he's not making a concession speech. I just don't want to hear it. So to your point, though, one thing that we are moving on today is the first day that President-elect is going to put out the new COVID ideas and his policies and put together the new team. And I want to say that's timely to me. You and I haven't talked, but last week on Tuesday, my family lost a 9-year-old friend to COVID up here in northern Wisconsin. God rest your soul, Roland. And then I lost a personal friend at about 49 years old named Mara, who lived in Quincy, who was our station manager and sales manager and affected many of us in the television community. And she passed away due to COVID. So it's real, guys. And today, the good news, I don't know if you saw, Mark, Pfizer is close. They're saying that they found a drug that's got 90% efficiency. They believe by the end of the year, they'll have enough to immunize 15 to 20 million people. The government has promised them almost $2 billion for 10 million doses. It was developed with a German drug maker named BioNTech, and it is a double vaccine. So it's likely, Mark, it's around the corner. That's what's new today. It's big news if you haven't checked it out yet.
I hope so. I'm just, I don't know. We'll probably keep wearing masks too. And I understand people's frustrations with masks. I have to wear one at work, and we wear one when we go out to eat. We're still eating out, which is getting iffy because of the cold. But I
Yeah.
understand the frustration. I hate wearing a mask. I don't like it, but I don't want to kill somebody.
I know. I mean, you look at worldwide, over 1.2 million people have deceased. In our country, what, 230,000? It's
Well, and they need to be back in the news too. So the sooner this all this crap gets resolved, the sooner we can stop. We can start talking about other things other than Trump continuing to hold rallies with obituaries of people who voted. I mean, I just, oh my God, please, 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 please get rid of this man.
yeah, and then even on what his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, diagnosed with COVID, not tested for COVID while this was all going on. On a lighter note, I know on your other podcast, which is called,
Well, when I'm doing it, it's on hold. It's one thing or another.
I'm sorry, are you mad at me that I
No,
brought
no,
it
no, I
up?
don't care. I'm going to do it again. I just, this, everything is insane. Everything is
I,
nuts. I'm working 9 out of 10 days twice. I
yeah.
got this going on. I got books going on. Blah, 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 blah. So what were you going to say?
No, and people can see past, listen to past podcasts of this or
Yeah,
that.
one thing or another podcast.com.
One thing or another, I said this or that. And one of Mark's guests is going to be a friend of mine, although Mark may be doing a text interview with her. She's a wonderful woman named Hillary Levy, and she wrote a book on Miss America that Mark's going to talk to her about. But today in Glamour magazine, Mark, she had her story come out in the culture section called "What It's Really Like to Run for Miss USA During a Pandemic." Miss USA is on tonight. It's on
Oh,
the
you got to
FY.
send me the link, please.
I will
And
definitely, and I'll post.
I will reach out to her. I told her that I'm just pausing it because of all this crap. But I'll go.
Oh,
I'll
trust me,
circle
she's
back
on
to
our
her.
side of things, and she gets it.
Yeah.
She teaches at Brown University. She's dealing with COVID every day with students and stuff. But anyway, I'll share the story on our website too, on our social media. Mark, it's great because they are competing tonight on FYI Network at Graceland. They have looked for a venue to do it. I bring it up because of masks. A lot of the gals were like, "Oh, let's match our masks to our dress," but the organization said when you're on stage, you don't have to wear a mask. They issued them 5 masks that they can wear. But the challenge is, get what the challenge with their masks is like, how do they restore and preserve their lip color or whatever they're doing under their mask when they take it off to compete?
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Zoom interviews leading up to today. A lot of these kids are students, or a lot of these competitors are students. So some of them, school schedules and COVID among friends and themselves have affected it. So it's a great story. Tonight, Miss USA going live, very interesting in this day and age, but doing it, respectfully with tests and safely. So yeah, cool.
And I do have headlines, by the way, whenever we get to that.
Yeah, that was it. That's what's new. Ring that bell and let's get into your headlines.
Ring the bell, ring the bell. Yeah, I'm not going to gloat. I don't want to. One of the things that I saw in myself the last 4 years that I want gone is the burning hatred. There's no other word for it. I don't want to be hateful. I don't want to be filled with that. And it was, for me, it was all about him. It was all about him. Just getting him out of there is gonna gonna change things for me. But I don't want to. I'm not a hateful person, and I regret some of the things that I've said. But anyways, here we go with headlines. Sarah McBride becomes the first transgender state senator. Did you see that?
Hey.
In Delaware, by the way. Delaware, rock on.
And might I yell out to my friend Ellen, who is her sister-in-law, I think it's her sister-in-law, who lives in Wisconsin, is a dear friend of mine. People are saying presidential someday. Really? She's that strong of a speaker. So I'm excited for her.
Here's one we already talked about. Joe Biden thanks the transgender community in his victory speech, which, they're just people who don't, if it's not part of their lives, they're never going to understand it. It's like, I still have white friends who don't understand what privilege is. They think it's about economics. They think it's about being poor and white, that means you don't have privilege. They don't understand it. And I can't educate them, but same thing with trans people. They don't understand it. It's not part of their lives. They don't know any transgender people. But we do, and I have known some that have influenced me for the rest of my life.
Amen.
Huge crowd outside White House trolls Trump with YMCA. Let
Did
them
they really?
Absolutely. There was video. Oh my God, like thousands of them doing YMCA. Let them have their moment. You know what I mean? Let them have their moment, and then start being kind again. CNN calls election for Joe Biden. I don't know why that was a headline. But oh my God, it was so stressful. Like, oh my God, I was waking up at 2 a.m. I couldn't help it.
I know.
Looking at the headlines, like, please, please, please. And now I'm having to Back off, leave it alone. It's done. It is a done deal. When our current president accepts it and moves on is not our problem.
Well,
I mean,
very
it
true.
is and
And
it's not, because
I
I
just
read
point
to,
out,
I read today
go
too,
ahead.
just quickly, the transition. It's not like Biden just shows up in January 21st. There is a whole process of transferring power and transferring all the passwords and transferring all of the. There's money. There's all this stuff that has to be done, and there's an act called the Transitions Act, I think, and
Yeah.
and as long as Trump is refusing to concede and everybody around him still cowers. I will never understand why they cower before this man. He's a human being, and he's a really damaged one. But they won't even start the transition until he gives it up. And if he doesn't give it up until the Electoral College meets, then Biden and Harris are going to have a really tough time just trying to get shit running.
You're right. A friend did share that story about, there's a reason he's not doing a concession speech because it does lead the way for him. I'm not gonna let's not go down that path. There's potential
He's
that he
leaving.
could.
The main
Yeah,
thing is for everybody, he's leaving. He can posture and pose and parade all he wants to. He is leaving
well,
office.
and like I said, being here among a Trump community, like all the signs that are still and stuff. To your point about the CNN story, it's funny because we were shopping for furniture, my brother, sister in law, and I, when it happened. We kept quiet the whole time, and all of a sudden I came up and go, "Oh, Mark, something just came in the news." And he goes, "Yeah, I saw it." By then he was sitting down in his chair taking pause. We get back in the car, and his daughter calls, and she's on Bluetooth, and she's like, "Mom, Dad, did you see the news?" And my brother was so sweet. He's like, "Yeah, Haley, we're not talking about it. Uncle Rick's in the car, and we're just going to be respectful." But Mark said, "Let me just tell you this. You're going to love this, Mark McNease." He said, "That's the media, and the media isn't the law." So there are still believers that are maybe holding on, but I don't think so because last night we openly talked about President-elect Biden. So
He cannot win.
of course not.
And
Okay. So
in any, I don't even want to get into legitimacy. He cannot win this. And the states, let's have some respect for Georgia and Pennsylvania and Nevada
amen.
and Arizona. They have legislatures. They have people in place that run their elections, and a lot of them are Republicans. They're
I
not
know.
interested. They're not going to play this man's game. They are not going to give Donald Trump an election he did not win. And I think I'll say this: his biggest mistake, his fatal mistake, was assuming, and I believe this to my core, that everyone is as corrupt as he is. That was
Amen.
his fatal mistake.
I love that comment, Mark. It's so true. Hey, listen, I worked the polls and it was so delightful. If you haven't worked the polls, it's a great opportunity. You don't discuss what side you're on, so to speak. You're just there doing the American duty. And I'm grateful I did it. But yeah, you're right. We are not as corrupt as he, as a country. We are
No,
not.
he openly said. He openly said. Now, how can you listen to him and not hear what he says directly to you? Amy Coney Barrett is going on to the Supreme Court to give me this election. He said it. Now, fucking wake up. You know.
Mark, with me?
But the Supreme Court, by the way, I'm getting fired up because I'm tired of them not believing
I
what he
know. I'm
tells
with you.
them, not
I
seeing
know.
what he shows them. I'm done with it. And but Coney Barrett and the other two on the court, they know they're going to outlast him. They're going to be on that court for years. They owe him nothing. Once they're on that court, they don't owe him a goddamn thing, and they're not going to give it to him.
I agree with you. So, oh my God, it's so funny. Anyway, what else you got for headlines? I love the headlines, you two.
That's it. You just something set me off.
Is that all you have for headlines?
Yeah. I told you
Oh, yeah.
I've been busy, man. I've been
Well,
frying
I know.
chickens
And
7 days, 6 days a week. Come on.
following CNN's announcement, though, Fox was right behind it. My sister-in-law spoke up. She goes, "Well, Mark, it was on Fox News too." So anyway, everyone's gonna shut up. So this is cool news. Happy birthday to anybody that's having a birthday today. There's a place in Madison, Wisconsin, several locations, Mark. I'll have to take you there on your birthday next year, maybe, or whenever you come visit me, called the Nitty Gritty. And they celebrate birthdays in style. You come in on your birthday, you get a glass, you have free beer, whatever you want all night long, get a free little dessert or something. They ring a bell, they announce your name every hour on the hour while you're still there with your friends. It's awesome. Well, yesterday they celebrated their 800th birthday of people coming in. And it's really cool. If you go to their website, they just started this in 1974. They tell stories about people who have been coming in every year since 1974. The oldest person to do this was 106 years old. She came in 2001. Quadruplets have participated in this. Big news here in Madison, but it's a great, talk about a restaurant having a little niche, and that was one of them. Another story, see elephants from your plunge pool by day and stargaze by night at Zambia's new luxury safari camp. If you look it up, it's called Puku Ridge, Puku Ridge. And the images are beautiful, guys. And if I could have a dream vacation, I've always wanted to go to Africa or an African nation. And I mean, how cool. You're like you're in the middle of the safari country and you're just in a hotel where these animals are just coming right up to you. Like there's a picture here of the open bar. And on the backside of the bar, you might have a giraffe pop through for a little margarita or two with you. Very, very cool. And then this is a cool story. Apple News reported this one. The title is, After 14 Sons, Michigan couple finally has their first daughter. Something to celebrate. Kateri Schwand, 45.
That's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids. She gave birth to Maggie Jane on Thursday at Mercy Health St. Mary's Hospital in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Baby weighing in at 7 pounds, 8 ounces. Baby's father is also 45. Now they don't have to adopt a girl. Not that they were going to. I'm just making that commentary. But yeah, good news abounds and is all around us, Mark.
Yes, good news abounds.
Good news abounds. Ring that bell. I'm traveling, Mark. I don't travel with my
this or that or gear grinders.
Let's do this or that, buddy.
Okay, well, I told you mine was all, and I'm going to make it up on the fly. It's all about cabinet secretaries.
Oh, that's cool, because we might talk about that a little later when we get to today's topic. But then again, we may not have time for today's topic.
Well, by the way, I don't even know what it is. You didn't tell me. But
today's topic is the election, so we're already.
We've been talking about that since we started.
Yeah, I know. It's woven into this special episode.
No, I was going to say, this is, speaking of cabinet secretaries, you know, I read stuff about McConnell's not going to let him appoint anybody he doesn't approve of and blah, 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 blah. Well, folks, welcome, Republicans, to the awesome powers that Donald Trump has given the presidency. Because Joe Biden will be able to fill, if he has to, will just fill his cabinet with acting secretaries. Donald Trump did it.
Hey,
Donald
listen,
Trump
let me
did
tell
all
you.
kinds of shit that they didn't say anything about. And now when Joe Biden does it, sorry, folks.
And it's going on in Wisconsin, and many people know our story because we made a lot of news with COVID. We have a Democratic governor who can't get anything passed without being sued by the Republican legislature, and it doesn't matter. My friends, I have a friend that sits on the cabinet, and he's still an acting cabinet member, and it doesn't matter. He's a great, they call him nominee or whatever, but he's still doing his job, so it's going to be fine.
Now,
Mark.
wouldn't it be so much better for the country and the soul of the nation if we could somehow stop doing that and get back to when presidents were allowed their cabinets, regardless of if it pleased the opposing party or not, when President Obama would have been allowed to seat someone on the Supreme Court, as is his right.
And can we get back to some normalcy as it relates to public health, as it relates to elections? I mean, so much of the shit we're in, guys, was because of one person stirring the pot, not just him, but his minions. And God, I'm looking forward to it, Mark. We will see that day. It's coming. We will have normalcy again. So trust me, I predicted the election and I'm predicting that. Okay, this or that, buddy.
This or that. Secretary of Rainbow Sprinkles, Pete Buttigieg or Stacey Abrams?
Oh, I think it should be a co-cabinet position. I'd go with Buttigieg. I'd go with Buttigieg's husband. How about that?
Yeah. By the way, I can't wait for the state dinners where there's Secretary Buttigieg and his husband. I cannot wait.
Well, they're saying he may not be a secretary. He may be an ambassador. But either way, he's going to have a big role. Right. Yeah, I like that title for him.
Just
go ahead.
Send him someplace gay-friendly. Do not send him to Haiti or some shit like that. Or someplace where they won't want him because he's a homosexual.
China. He speaks Mandarin. All that shit. That's
cool. But China's probably going to give him a hard time.
Give me another position. I want to pick the cabinet. I like this. What else you got?
Secretary of Halloween Baking Championship.
Oh, they work all year to get to this point. It's like, my friend actually...
Secretary of Holiday Baking Championship. I misread it. I'm sorry. I read it wrong. I was reading my positions and descriptions. Would that be...
It's funny you say that because I met a gal this year and I love her. She's great. But she worked for Trump and ran his Christmas stuff and ran his his egg hunt thing. Not much to do at Christmas when you have a first lady that calls it unreal or whatever. Fuck her. Okay, what now, Mark?
Well, would that be RuPaul or Susan Rice?
I'm going with RuPaul. Susan Rice is better spent or better appointed as what did they say she's gonna do? It's not Secretary of State. It was something else. NSA again, maybe? I don't know. No, it's time for something new. That's a good one. That's a good call.
You go. You got to come up with something.
Well,
I'm
mine
running
aren't
out.
cabinet. Mine aren't cabinet. Mine are this or that question to learn a little bit more about you. Is that
Oh,
cool?
okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because you're not very transparent, at
Oh, I'm
all.
totally transparent.
I know. I think our viewers know exactly what they're getting. If you were to go to dinner with Mark, the conversations we have on this podcast, folks, are the conversations you'd have at dinner, with a little more laughter at dinner. I think there is a side of Mark, guys, and you can see it. And you've heard us bust into laughter on this show many times, but Mark is really one of the wittiest and sarcastic too, might I say, Mark? I
Yeah.
will say
Well,
that.
try.
Yeah.
I would say
Oh my
try.
God, he is. I had tears. 30 years I've had the pleasure of being friends with Mark, and he's a funny guy. So, Mark, what quality do you look for in a best friend? This is an A, B, or C, okay?
Okay.
Understanding and patience, humor and intelligence, or style and worldliness.
Humor and intelligence.
I'm looking at it, and I think I
If
would
you're
pick the C.
intelligent, you're going to understand and you're going to be patient.
And if you're
But you got to be
humorous,
funny, man. You got to have a sense of humor.
I would agree. I think they're all six good qualities, but I would go with that. And I would have picked you either choosing that or actually all three of them for you when I wrote them. Um, okay, here's a good one. Speaking of laughter, what weird thing would you make socially acceptable if you could pass a law about it? So, what weird thing would you make socially acceptable if you could? Number one, or A, saying out loud what you think as you think it. It's the opposite of the movie Men Want What Women Want or What Men Want. It's like whatever's on your mind, you're just going to say it, right? No
Okay.
matter what. Number B, letter B, public display of sex, not PDA, not just affection, but openly public display of sex. You walk through a park and you see people having sex. Or C, passing gas freely.
I got to go with C. I got to go with C because, first of all, please don't tell me what you think. I mean, we've had enough of that.
Yeah.
Um, by the way, so many people who said they like Trump because he says what he thinks are really saying he says what I think. Um, Thank you for that information. Uh, and sex in a park, I saw it once. I don't want to see it again. So I'm going to go with farting. Just fart. Just cut loose.
Okay, you want me to right now?
But please wear underwear.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't think of it. Okay, one last one on the more serious side. So you're leaving your job
Oh,
and you're
please
moving up.
don't excite me, please.
No, I got a new job for you. You're the CEO of a company. Okay. For
Okay.
the last, 5 years of your life, you're the CEO of a company. Is it Walmart? Is it United Health Group? Or is it ExxonMobil Gas?
Never ExxonMobil. They're very anti-gay. Um, I'm going to say Walmart. Yeah, I'm going to say Walmart.
What is that?
I think they're coming up.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, they've done some stuff. And I don't know if I want to get in the health game. I mean, I want to be a part of it. I want to help make
No, because
decisions.
you got to. I mean, I think you really, to be responsible, you've got to like start letting people die for the shareholders. So I don't know about that.
Walmart would be fun. And then you could, do events with the
You could take them gay. You
sprinkles.
could take them really, really
Well,
gay.
yeah, you work with RuPaul and Buttigieg, get in with the president cabinet members and go for it.
Rainbow assault rifles. I love that one.
Hey guys, that's our this or that for today. We're gonna ring that bell.
Yeah, let's get to the topic because I'm watching this clock.
I know, but I want to tell people a couple things on feedback too. Remember, guys, you can go online. You can check us out on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. Great things there. One of the things I do, Mark, leading up to the holiday is tell about something you can do as a good holiday gift. I'm going to suggest this week, real quick, Christmas stockings are a great idea.
Yeah,
History of St. Nick's
love
Day, right? St. Nick's Day is November 5th. Great things. You can put them in little things like lottery, gift cards, cash, jewelry, keychains, perfumes, fold up slippers. There's no limit on what you can do. Yummy chocolates. What I love about a stocking, Mark, is you get a variety of things, right? I think it's fun.
we do them. We have ones with our names on them, Mark and Frank. I also like them because you can be economical. You can get lots of fun little stuff and not break the bank. You're not, it's not a trip to Paris. It's a box of chocolates.
No, it's very, very cool. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then also another idea is this. My friend Patty planted this idea, and I really like it. Hallmark Christmas movies are coming out. You know, my mom had to go home and see her favorites, and everybody's watching the Hallmark Christmas things. How about this Christmas or another Christmas, gift someone to go with you to one of the locations where they shoot them? A lot of them are shot down in Georgia, believe it or not, but most of them are shot up in Canada. So just a great gift idea. Going to share that feedback on our Facebook page. So check it out.
Okay.
So today's topic, what more is there to report other than, hey, things are good? What angle do you want to take on the new presidency and the
I
election?
want to take the angle that we haven't turned a corner. There's so much damage in this country and so many things that are wrong. I do think it's extremely important that we have a president who won both the electoral college and the popular vote. Unfortunately, we are stuck with the electoral college. We probably always will be. It's extremely undemocratic. I won't get into it, but if we're going to have these things, we can't keep having presidents, and they happen to all be Republican. I don't know why.
Mm.
It's because of the state's makeup, but we can't. We just can't do this shit again. You know where? Because if Trump wins, let's just say he won this, he would have won the electoral college and lost by 4 million votes. It's going to ruin the country. It's going to just destroy it. So it's got to stop. We have to have presidents who win both until we get rid of one of them. Um, but my take is that it's like, whew, whew, we dodged 20,000 bullets because I think a second term of Donald Trump, he showed us what he was going to do. He showed us it, and I said earlier that the left gets in these crazy conspiracies, but Trump really was very frightening because he thought I said it. He thinks everybody's as corrupt as he is. As far as he's concerned, Bill Barr is there to put Hillary Clinton in prison. Bill Barr is there to bring charges against Barack Obama. I mean, Donald Trump has no concept of the rule of law, even though his supporters think for some reason that he upholds, like he's all about the rule of. No, he's about Donald Trump and doing exactly what he wants to do, and everything is subservient to that. So I think having dodged that, I think we're going to all breathe a little easier. I have the last 4 days. I haven't put anything on Facebook almost, and I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to make. I don't want to wake up in the morning and be told what Donald Trump tweeted from his toilet at 2 o'clock in the morning in the White House. Please, please, please get rid of all this shit. And nobody who ever, and I'll end with this, I just think we're headed for better emotional days. Nobody running for office who says they will not accept the results or they may not accept the results of the election is qualified to hold that office. That has to
Mm.
stop. We can never, ever, ever have that again. If you will not say when you're running that you will accept these results, then get off the stage.
Mm. I agree.
That's it.
Oh, that's good stuff. I have comment on a point I made earlier about Vice President Harris. A lot of firsts. It's a history-making ticket. I love in her speech, Mark, just some highlights from the speeches and what it means, that she applauded him to have the foresight early on before he even made known who his nominee would be. He said it would be a woman of color. And so she applauded him. I love seeing that relationship between the Biden clan, the Harris clan come together. A lot of things to unpack there, too. Kamala's husband, his first wife, Kamala's his second wife. His first wife's very dear friends with Joe Biden. He is also practices the Jewish faith. So when you looked at the stage of the Biden clan and the Harris clan, there was, true
Oh yeah, it
representation
was
of
really lovely. The little
it
black
was.
girls. It was so sweet.
Yeah, her little niece and what I like about Kamala, she's the real deal. I think Joe is too. Of course, he's like the 78-year-old white male real deal, and she's the 59-year-old, mixed race or biracial real deal. I love that about these people. I truly believe, Mark, they are the team for the people. I'm excited. One note, though, there was a vice presidential nominee. Her name is Charlotta Bass. She strode onto a stage in Chicago back in '52. She was a candidate for the nation's second highest office under the Progressive Party. And so this wasn't a historic first necessarily being a candidate. And of course, we also had Miss Alaska, whatever her chickaroo's name was, Palin. But it was an exciting day for everybody, of course. And she knew at that time, apparently, stories about this Charlotta Bassett said here's a quote from that speech of 52. This is a historic moment in American political life. Historic for myself, for many people, for all women. For the first time in the history of this nation, a political party has chosen a Negro woman for the second highest office in the land. And she knew at that time that it was just the beginning to pass that on and lead the road. I do want to call out, and I guess there's reasons why neither candidate called out Hillary Clinton for helping pave that.
Yeah, no, I know why they didn't. It was
and I get it,
was smart not to.
Yeah, but exactly. And I get the politics of it. And you know, when they were saying thank you for those people that helped break the glass wall, you know they were speaking to her, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It's sad, but she knows, and I felt for her. But she did a great statement on her Twitter. She said some great things. I think. Here's her quote from her tweet. It's a history-making ticket, a repudiation of Trump, and a new page for America. Thank you to everyone who helped make this happen. Onward together. I loved that Harris opened her speech with a quote from the late great John Lewis, who passed away this year. She said, "Democracy is not a state; it is an act." And I love that. And she said what he meant here was that America's democracy is not guaranteed. And she went on to say, "Hey guys, you have been living through this for 4 years and doing what you can and being resilient. And then you still came out and voted and put it in play." So I love that. What I did love, a twist on words there about it's not just about a state. That is for sure the word state he meant was the state of a place and idea.
State of mind. Yes.
State of mind. Yeah. Now, what I liked is when Biden talked about, the states themselves, down to the last count in Georgia, down to the last count in Pennsylvania, which was so cool that, his state that he loved so much, where he spent a lot of time with his grandparents in Pennsylvania, was the one that put it over the edge. And I love his quote. He said, "Tonight we're seeing all over this nation that all cities in all parts of the country, indeed across the world, have an outpouring of joy and hope, of renewed faith in tomorrow to bring a better day." I referenced that in the opening of the show, guys. I don't think he saw that this was going to be such a big outpouring and a relief as well as a celebration. Also, a lot of people comment on this, Mark, as you saw. He did say, "I'm Jill's husband, and it's a great day for you all if you're a teacher."
That was nice.
I like that. I think we have a feminist in the house. I think we have someone that understands our community.
You're shaking something. I keep hearing this.
It's the keyboard. I'm reading down on his quotes.
Okay.
She addressed Asian, white, Latina, Native American women. He addressed, as you said, transgender. He started with gay before he even said straight. He said gay, straight, transgender.
Yeah, nice of him.
A lot of good rhetoric. Super happy, guys. It's a big day in America. So.
And by the way, I'm going to end on this. I really can't wait to see the inauguration with President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Hopefully, Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hopefully, George and Laura Bush. Because I keep saying it. For me, it was all about him. I never hated George W. Bush. I think he's a good man. I think Laura Bush is a really good woman, good person. It was always about this horrible, wretched, ugly man. And so anyways, I can't wait to see the, and I'm told he's not going to be there, and who cares? But yeah, that'll be fun.
It will be a good group. And George Bush, speaking of which, he already applauded the new president.
Yeah,
and
for him, he's oh my God, Rick, I don't want to start over again, but don't tell me, Trump has been like this fake man for so many millions of people. They think he's so manly, such a manly man. Man the fuck up and admit you lost. Be gracious. Have some dignity.
Well, the party, Mitch McConnell's the one that's pissed me off. No, I agree. On the positive side, though, that, here's a leader that held the presidency for 8 years. His father held it for 4 years. The Bushes were equal to the Clintons, if you will, in effect for their party. And so here's a man that stood up and respectfully acknowledged our new president, and I give him credit. I do also want to end with this, today's topic. And another thing, Mark.
It's the end of the show. We got to end the show.
I know we got to have a quote, and we'll save our commentary on gear grinders because there's nothing to be mad about today. But I did like that he referenced Lincoln in 1860, coming to save the Union, FDR in 32, promising a blinkered country a new deal, JFK in 60, pledging a new frontier, and then he referenced Barack Obama. 12 years ago, Barack Obama saying yes we can. He went on to end his speech with a hymn, which was a bold move. He's only the second Catholic to hold this position, openly acknowledging God, which is something that the current president never did, although he relied on the evangelical vote. So what does that say? Here's a man that's claiming his faith and holding his faith. Okay, Mark, let's end the show with quotes. This is not the quote I selected, but this is a quote from a very dear friend of both of ours. I just won't use his name because he put it up on social media and then pulled it down. I love this quote. He says, "To those who voted for Trump, you're welcome. We care more about you than you cared about us. Our vote will save lives, the country, the climate, our rights, and the economy, and so much more." And then he ends it. "We need no need to send us the fruit basket. It's our pleasure and responsibility." I love that.
I like that.
Yeah. What you got for a quote?
I'm going to quote myself.
For it.
I'm going to quote something here because I hope it's okay. This is on Facebook. "I don't know what divides can be bridged again. So many people have discovered what others in their lives really think and feel, including what they think about them, or at least what matters to them. The country must move on, but the wreckage will probably remain. I hope I'm wrong." That's Mark McNease. I do hope I'm wrong. I want us to. People have so much damage has been done, and people have lost friends that they've had for years, and family members, and it's just, it wasn't like this until 2016. I swear to God, it wasn't. So,
Well, I
anyways,
would
it's a
suggest
great.
to you, just like anybody, Mark, real quick, anybody getting into therapy, over 4 years of therapy, you can bridge those gaps. So I do think there's hope. The wreckage can go away. I love that end quote. And I want to play on some. I spent some time with my mom this weekend. She's a big advocate, as is my friend Francesco Bellotto, who you know, and many people like, "Hey guys, decorate for the Christmas season earlier." That was going to be my gear grinder. I hate that we go from Halloween to Christmas like overnight, a little bit of Thanksgiving in between. But there's so many stories out if you Google it of why it's so important right now to start decorating for the holidays and start singing songs and get in that spirit. It's going to help us overcome a lot of the yucky stuff like you imply, Mark, and really move forward into a new era of healing. Here's to January 20th, Mark.
Cannot wait. I'll be watching. Bye, everybody.
Guys, see ya. Bye.